to tonight's Chief Judge training. Please welcome our presenter, Jerry Barrett.
Hello, everybody. This session tonight is about how you can be a Chief Judge. And in this presentation, I hope it's very instructive so we can show you how to do that. I've been a Chief Judge for probably several years now, 3 or 4 years, and each contest season judged 2 or 3 or 4 different contests. I've also served as a District Chief Judge. And what I'm doing with this presentation is documenting the lessons I've learned, some of them in a painful way, so that you don't have to go through the pain. Here's what we're going to be presented today. You'll get an overview of the Chief Judge's responsibilities and what the tasks are. We'll go through tasks several times, but first at a high level, show where they fit into a timetable. In other words, how far ahead of the contest should tasks be presented to be done. We're going to spend a lot of time, several presentation slides talking about judges, and then also ballot counters and timers. What you'll find is the Chief Judge is where the buck stops in terms of finding judges, ballot counters, and timers. How to prepare for the contest. This is like, just before the contest, what things you need to bring. And then we'll talk about the briefing that you do and other things that you do before the contest starts when you actually arrive at the contest venue. We'll talk about what you do during the contest, and then the process of counting ballots and determining winners, how to handle protests. There is some post-contest paperwork to be done, and some miscellaneous topics that aren't necessarily tied to, the chronological order I've presented here, from picking judges to preparing to post-contest. So the responsibilities, this is the first set of responsibilities, is to team with the contest chair to handle all tasks. The district website has a planning guide which assigns different tasks to both the contest chair and the Chief Judge. But truth be known, it would be best if you met with your contest chair, went through that list, and decided who was going to handle specific tasks. For example, some contests, the contest chair is the one that prepares all the folders for the judges and timers. In other contests, the Chief Judge does that. So a meeting with the contest chair, you can resolve who will be doing that so that nothing falls through the cracks. Study and understand the current rule book. So there is homework for this class, and that is to study and understand the current rule book. If you haven't seen the rule book before or haven't paid it much attention, well, I'll talk more about that, but it is good to be familiar with the rule book. As I said, you'll select and brief the judges and the timers and the ballot counters. We'll go through that. Will you ensure that the room is set up properly? There are some things that the Chief Judge will need to do to make sure the room is set up properly so that a fair contest can be run. And when asked by the Toastmaster during the Toastmasters script, you affirm that the contest officials have been briefed. It's a good idea to spot check the speech timing. Sometimes that's pretty hard if the timer's in front of you and you can't see the lights, but you might want to spot check in your own watch a couple of the speeches just to kind of check and see if it's going all right. You'll collect the time record sheet and the tiebreaker judge's ballot at the end of each contest. So if there's an evaluation and a table topics contest like there is in fall of 2014, you'll do this process twice. You'll lead the ballot counting process, so you and the ballot counters will adjourn to count ballots. Handle any protests. You'll give the winner form to the contest chair, so when you're done counting ballots, you and the ballot counters know who the winner is, and we have a form that you can fill out to hand to the contest chair to let the contest chair know who the winners are. This is post-contest paperwork, filling out the notification of winners form, where you rank all the qualified contestants. A lot of people think you just have to fill out 1, 2, and 3, or the first 2. The answer is that if there's 6 contestants and none of them got disqualified for time or originality or eligibility, then all 6 of all the contestants need to be ranked in rank order. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And you give it to the next level contest chair. There are ways to find out who that is, or the area governor or division governor. At some point, you destroy all the ballots and the time sheets and the tally sheets. And be sure to thank your team for serving in the contest. So that's the high-level 2-page summary of what your responsibilities are as a chief judge. It's not quite as big a task list as a contest chair, but still it's probably the second biggest for any contest official. So there's a fair amount to do, but it's not a big, huge, demanding workload. This is the timetable chart, and the weeks before contest column indicates when the task should be completed. So 4 weeks before the contest is, before that time, 4 to 5 weeks ahead, sit down and study and understand the rules. Select your ballot counters and timers. Sometimes it takes a little longer to recruit and select judges, but the selection process should start more like 5 or 6 weeks ahead of the contest, and have your judges in place 2 or 3 weeks ahead, and then send out your first email to all the contest officials, giving them the contest details. It's going to be at a certain venue. The briefings will start at this time. Please be there for that. Come a few minutes early so you can get situated, and that sort of thing. And then you confirm the judges' eligibility once you've selected them, and you find new judges if needed. You may find some judges that aren't eligible to judge in the contest, so you may have to do some replacements. Plan the chief judge briefing. There is an online script for the briefing, and I'll show that to you. Well, all these documents I'm going to show come from the District 55 website. This is what it looks like. It's tmd55.org. To find contest information, it's in the calendar section at the top. You can see contests pops up. Information for contest organizers has 3 pages, and the one we're interested in, since we want to find the chief judge script, is the scripts page. So we'll go to the scripts page. You will see at the bottom is the scripts for briefing judges, timers, and ballot counters. So you click on that, and you'll get a PDF will pop up like that. I've already downloaded it, so I'll show you what it looks like. It's 8 pages long. It has a table of contents, instructions. Here's the list of items to bring to the contest, as I mentioned before. Here's what you do before the briefings begin. Basically walking around with the contest chair. Check out the room to figure out where the speaking area is. Make sure the timing signals are all visible to all contestants. I've been to some contests where they've been in the last row and they've been hidden. Don't let that happen. The chief judge is really the person who wants to make sure the contest is run by the rules. And this is pretty much a rule item that you need to check on and be sure that it's being complied with. Figure out where you're going to do the briefings and be sure the accommodations are suitable. You don't want a place that holds 4 people for 8 judges. And before the briefing starts, give them a 2-minute warning to say, hey, if you're going to, timers, ballot counters, and judges, we'll meet so-and-so in a couple of minutes. And then the rest of it is your briefing. And I won't go through the briefings, but there's one for the tiebreaking judge, one for the judges, one for the timers, and one for the ballot counters. One per page each. So go to the district website, go to the contest scripts page, and then download the briefing script and print it out and be sure you read it and then bring it with you. Be sure to train judges if necessary. Some judges may not have been trained or have judged the contest. It's important that they get this training before the contest. You don't want to go to a briefing and find out that they haven't judged before and they haven't been trained. At the area contest and division contest, area contest, you're going to want to prefer judges who have judged a club contest before. And if this is for a division contest, you would like for your judges to have judged at an area contest before. If you just can't quite meet that, make sure they've been trained and then make sure you answer any of their questions. Here's another reminder. So you send one out 2.5 weeks ahead. Here's one a couple of days before the contest. You need to select who the tiebreaker judge is and brief them, because you do not brief them during the regular briefing. They're briefed separately because there's an extra level of anonymity given to tiebreaker judges. Then conduct the briefing, perform the contest duties, and then afterwards fill out the notification of winners, destroy the documents, and then write your thank you notes. Try to do that within a week after the contest is over. Let's see. Okay, study the rules. This is what the rule book looks like. It's a 2014 rule book, so that's applicable for the fall contest. We'll have a new rule books that'll come out late this year that will apply to 2015, but this is the one we use for fall of 2014. When I say study the rule book, my advice is to, if you're not familiar with the rule book, sit down, go, just like you'd read any kind of text you would in college, right? Thumb through it and see what the different sections are, then start studying it section by section. I'd say, give yourself a half hour to go through it, take notes, and if you have questions, you can always contact me or Susan McClure, who introduced me as the district chief judge. I'll show you how to contact her at the end of this presentation. The rule book is downloadable from the TI website. I believe I brought that up. And here it is. So it's 17 pages long. It's not terribly long. And the rules start on page 4. And the way you get there is on the Info for Contest Organizers page, which is this link here, right? We went to contests, calendar contests, info for contest organizers, which brings us to this page, and there's the rule book is one of the links on this page. The 3 links above it are links to pages. This is your link to the rule book. And when the new rule book comes out, then this will switch to 2015. And then be sure you offer to send the rule book to the judges and ask them to familiarize themselves with the rules. It's important the judges have some familiarity with the rule book. Okay, here's the section on judges, and it's got its own outline. How many and when and where do they come from? What are the eligibility requirements? How do you find judges or judge candidates? Once you've got candidates, how do you invite them to be a judge, and how do you ask for qualifications? We actually have a template, a letter template that you can use. How to confirm their eligibility. There's the links to the training modules and just a page on the tiebreaker judge. So here we go. Let's talk about speech contest judges. One of the more fun jobs at a contest, I think. Okay, how many? At the club level, these are the rules. All right. And we'll talk about if we should do beyond the rules at the end of this page. But at a club, you need 5 voting judges. It has a escape clause unless impractical, and you also need a tie-breaking judge. So if you're going to run a contest at a club level, you need 6 judges. Notice that it does not say anything about judges should be outside the club or judges should be CC or higher or anything like that. At the area level, 5, again, the same number, 5 voting judges, or you can do equal representation from the clubs in the area. You only apply that if you have less than 5 areas. Once you get up to 5, the judges, according to the rules, and these are not really good rules from a bias standpoint, the judges can come from anywhere. They can, I would not advise this because you're a chief judge and you want to run a fair contest, but you can get 5 judges all from one club in the area of the contest. So I just want you to realize that, but then stow that away and say, I'll never do that. You really want to find judges from outside the area, outside the clubs. So anyway, 5. Division, a little more restrictive. You need 7 judges or equal representation from the areas. And then an additional requirement, no judge or chief judge can be in the same club with a contestant. So here you definitely can't get judges from inside a contestant's club or the chief judge. Here are the guidelines we've been put in place in District 55 to increase the fairness. 2 additional guidelines. One is try to get 2 voting judges per contestant. What we found over the years is that the more judges you have, the more fair the result comes out. I've counted enough ballots in my day and know that sometimes you'll see the results of what I call an errant judge. That's just way out, different from all the other judges. I'm not talking about, debates between who's first and who's second. They may have picked somebody who's first that was not even rated by the other judges, things like that. The more judges you have, the less likely that judge's results will impact the overall choices of winners. So try to get 2 voting judges per contestant. Or if there's only 2 contestants, get 5 or 7. Get these numbers up here. And then find judges from outside the club. If you're doing a club contest, outside the area. If you're chief judging an area contest, and find them outside the division if you're doing a division contest chief judge job. Here are the eligibility requirements. At the club level, the judge just needs to be a member in Toastmasters in good standing. We'll talk about what that means in a minute. Area and division levels, it has to be a member that has at least 6 months worth of tenure as a member. And they also have to have completed 6 speeches in the Competent Communicator Manual. So a higher level of experience required at the area and division levels. And here's a note. This is not anything to do with judge eligibility. It has to do with contestant eligibility. And you'll need to address this as you're selecting judges. But if a contestant judges a contest beyond the club level, that judge is no longer eligible to compete that contest season. So as you're soliciting judges, you want to ask them, hey, are you still in the running to compete at the area contest or at the division contest? And in the running means they may have competed and come in second. And they may want to not judge just in case the first place contestant cannot compete at the next level contest. So let that be their decision. It's not yours, because once they judge, then they're ineligible. You just want to give them fair warning that if they do judge and they're still in the running, that ends their running as a contestant. So how do you find judge candidate? That's probably the single most reason that people, that and rules are the 2 main reasons why people don't want to be a chief judge. Because it's like any volunteer organization, finding volunteers can be a challenge, can be time consuming. So how do you do it? Basically, the one I like is networking at training events and from previous speech contests. Right, a lot of people interested in speech contests have been to speech contests before. You can see who the people are. Go up and introduce yourself, meet them at the breaks, talk to them before the contest, talk to them after the contest. You can also network at officer training events, or if you like to visit other clubs, you can develop your network of judges by visiting other clubs and taking note of members who would be interested in judging a speech contest. From other clubs nearby, you can ask your club's tribal elders, right? Typically a club has a go-to person, may or may not be an officer. They probably know who in their club would be a good judge. Ask your area governor or division governor. Ask the district chief judge, which is Susan. And here's the email address. Ask the district contest chair. This year it's Lisa Park. Click this link, which you will get this presentation, by the way. And you can send an email to Lisa and say, help, what do you suggest I do? And don't just say help, tell them what contest and where you are and what club you're in so they can kind of help focus down on where you can go find judges. Your area and division governor, you can find who they are from the district website. The way you do that, from the home page, you go to the About page, clubs by division and area. I'm going to click on that link and just do a search on your club. What's the name of your club, Susan?
Universal City.
Universal. There's Universal City. You can see in Universal City, it's in area I-45, and the area governor is Adrian Huddleston. Well, so that's not helpful. How do I contact Adrian Huddleston? I don't know Adrian Huddleston. Well, there's a second step in here. It does say up here how to find it. But go to the About tab for the district leader team. We said we're in Division I, right? Go to Division I. You'll see that Nasser Shukar is the division governor. There's an email link to his name. And there's Adrian Huddleston, I-75. You click on this link and you'll send Adrian an email saying, help, I need help with judges. You can also use social media to find judges. I guess I got to go to the bottom of the page here. Facebook, LinkedIn. Just put out the word that the contest is taking place and you're looking for judges. You will probably get younger judges that way because that's where a lot more younger people are on social media than people that are not younger. So anyway, get creative and use your resources to network and to ask people where you can find judges. Now, once you've got a candidate pool, how do you ask them for their qualifications? Well, here's the link to find the template, the letter to prospective judges template. I've actually brought that up. Where you find it is Forms and Templates page. So you click on this Forms and Contest Forms link, which will take you to this page right here that I've already loaded. And you can see here's a link, Letter to Prospective Judge Template. When you click on that, you'll get an invitation to look at a PDF, which I've already downloaded right here. And it's just a one-page letter that you can use and paste into an email, fill in the blanks. Questions like, what's your cell phone number? You may need that the day of the contest if it's 2 minutes before the briefing and not all your judges are there. Ask them what clubs they're in, where they've competed. Ask them to review the rule book. This is a link to the rule book, I think. Let's see. Well, maybe it doesn't work. Have they been trained? If not, go to the TI website and look at these two videos, which I'll show you where they are in just a minute. And then you ask these three questions if you're going above the club level. Are you currently a contestant? This is the one that warns them once they judge, they're no longer eligible to compete. What level are they, CCs, or given 6 speeches, and have they been a member for 6 months? This is just to help you determine whether they're going to be eligible to be judges. Okay. So provide the date, this is review, provide date and time of the contest, ask for cell, ask if they're a contestant, clubs. Here's the different eligibility requirements above the club level. Are they familiar with the rules and judge training? So this is just a repeat of what I just showed you on the template letter. And then based on the answers you get back, another thing you can add to the letter, and I haven't done it yet, if you have the list of contestants, you can ask them, do they know the contestants, and are they sure they can judge? If they are they sure they can judge the contest fairly? Right? And I just leave it up to them. If they say yes, then fine. If they say no, then thank them for their honesty and go find somebody else. So if you have a list of contestants, you can also include that in your letter. And then when you're seeking judges, only have one addressee per letter. So don't put 16 judges on the to list saying, hey, I'm looking for judges, because I don't know what you do, but a lot of people see 16 people and they say, well, I'll let them answer it. I'm too busy. If you address it to them directly, you're more likely to get a response. How do you confirm that the judge is eligible and met the eligibility requirements? What you do is you take the information you've gotten from your judges, potential judges, and you either send an email to speechcontests@toastmasters.org, or you call TI, Texas International, on the phone and ask for speech contest. This phone number is at the bottom of every Toastmasters International website page on the bottom right. And then provide them the information. You know, if it's an area or above, ask membership was going to want to know if you're going to want to ask speech contests if they've been a member for at least 6 months. You're going to ask if they're a member in good standing, and what that means is their dues are paid through the current dues period, and they're on the membership list. In addition, on division contests, you need to make sure the judges are not in the same clubs with contestants. What does that mean? That means you have to connect with the contest chair and find out who the contestants are. And then you can, when you email speech contests or call speech contests, you can give them all the contestant names, and they can help you verify if they're in the same club with the judge or not. So email or phone call, and then provide them the information you get from your questionnaire. Judge training. We actually have, and we'll have shortly, we have recorded a judge training session, and shortly we will put a link to that recording. It's about an hour long, 55 minutes, on the district website. It's not there yet, but let me show you where it's going to be. So if we go back. So here we are, contests. It's under training, speech contest training. And this area right here is where the recordings, links to the recordings, they're going to be put on YouTube. So the link to the YouTube recording will be in this session on speech contest training, on this page, I'm sorry. And this recording will be the one you'll listen to when you go and click the Chief Judge training session. If they've missed it or don't want to watch the hour video, there are 2 online videos that I would encourage them to do as well. There's session 2 when you're the judge, and session 3 is how to fill out the guide and the ballot. When you're a judge, talks about making you aware of what your forms of bias might be, and other things like that, things to be aware of as a judge. And those videos are on the Toastmasters International website. Now, how did I get here? What I did is I brought up Toastmasters.org, And then I just put in the search bar, judge training, and this is what showed up right here. You can see my search criteria right here, judge training. And lo and behold, there's session 2 and some other links that you can actually would be a good to explore. When I clicked on the session 2, I got to this page, and you just launch the session by clicking this red button right here, and up comes a training video that you click to go to the next step and things like that. And then session 3 I got to by clicking this session right here, session 3, the Judge's Guide and Ballot. You can look at session 1 if you want, but it's talking about contests and what the different roles are. So FYI on that. It's not really training to be a judge, although TI thinks it is. And here's what session 3 looks like, the Judge's Guide and Ballot. Same thing. Just go over here and launch the session. Okay. The tie-breaking judge, there's some special considerations. This is rules. The identity is known only to the chief judge, so you don't even tell the other judges who it is, or the contest chair, or anybody associated with the contest. You're the only one that knows who they are. You select them and brief them prior to arriving at the contest. Or if you go an hour early, I suppose you could brief them, there. But you definitely do not include them in the chief judge briefing that happens, usually starts 30 minutes before the contest starts. And then before the contest starts, you'll need to give them the folder with the tie-breaking judge's guide and ballot. It's a different form. And the folder will have those guide and ballot forms in it. And then have them sign and give you their eligibility form. One of the things you'll be getting from all the judges is, even though you're confirming with Toastmasters International, they'll be filling out a form swearing to, if you will, their eligibility to be a judge, that they've, in an area that they've got 6 CC speeches, they're a member in good standing, and that they have been a member for at least 6 months. So the tie-breaking judge also has to sign an eligibility form like that. And then after all the contestants have spoken, you, the chief judge, are the one that picks up the tie-breaking judge's ballot, and try to do that discreetly. The differences in the ballot is that this ballot will rank all the contestants. Regular judge ballots has 1, 2, 3. Who's first, who's second, who's third. Tie-breaking judge ballot has a space for, I think, up to 10 or 12 contestants. And they need to rank every contestant, first through N. So they have to definitely pay attention and use their criteria to help them decide who placed first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. But you as a chief judge are the one that picks up the ballot. And when you pick it up, keep it separate from the other ballots. Put it in your pocket, someplace that won't be mixed up with the other ballots. Okay, now the rules for the other role players. The rules say we need 3 ballot counters and 2 timekeepers. So my advice to you is these are minimum numbers. Do not let it deter you from getting more. It is okay to have more than 3 ballot counters. It is okay to have more than 2 timekeepers. There's good reasons for that. One, people might not show up. And if they don't, then instead of briefing the contestants, you're going to be looking around for recruits. And the other is, we'd like to get as much participation in speech contests as we can. And people feel more committed or more dedicated to coming if they have a role. So use these numbers as minimums, not as maximums. Minimums, try to get more. Sergeants at Arms, this is an item that you'll talk over with the contest chair. The rules don't say much about Sergeant at Arms. They just say you need one for the evaluation contestant and the table topics contests. And the purpose of that is, as you know, is to throttle the contestants in one at a time so that they don't hear the previous topic or the previous evaluation. But that's all they say about it. The contest chair briefing spells out the number and how many. So when you meet with a contest chair, make sure you understand who is sourcing the sergeants at arms and getting them signed up for the contest. Oh, I already talked about this. I guess I went over, didn't know I was here. Nothing wrong with having more than the number listed in the rules. More are better, and good to have backups. Okay, what do you bring to the contest? Bring your script. Print it out from the scripts page that we just saw. Bring rule books. Work with a contest chair to get the rule books. A lot of contest kits have them. Decide whether you're going to download and print them, you know. But there needs to be rule books at the contest. The folders containing the judge's guide and ballot along with their envelopes. The rules actually say envelopes. I was really surprised they added that. So a day or two before the contest, not 2 minutes before, get your folders ready. Take your forms, put them in the manila folders. One judge's guide and ballot for each contest. You'll have two different ones. One for this fall in District 55, humorous speech and table topics. Make sure there's an envelope for each ballot. Bring your judge certification forms. One thing you can do as you're committing judges, if you're getting committed, email them the form and ask them to fill it out and bring it to the contest. But even then, make sure you have blank forms at the briefing. You can either have a stack of blank forms, a stack, 3 or 4, or you can put one in each judge's folder and have them sign it at the beginning of the briefing. The folder containing the time record sheets along with envelopes. Again, the rules say the time sheet should go in an envelope. And they'll need one per contest. There'll only be one time record sheet per contest. In the past, the rules have said each timer times. That's not true anymore. There's only one timer that fills out the time record sheet. And when the contest is done, they need to fold it, put it in the envelope, and give it to you. But ahead of the contest, give them a folder with these forms in it. Counters tally sheets. We'll have 3 of those per contest. So 6 if you're doing a single area contest, 12 if you're doing 2 area contests. Notification of winners forms. This is not as important as it used to be. The contest winner announcement script forms with an envelope. This is a form that District 55 has. And where you find it is on the forms page. So you click free downloadable speech contest forms, which I've already done. And here's the contest winner announcement script right there. You can see you click it, it's a PDF, download it and print it. It'll be a blank form, and here's what it looks like. It's in 2 parts, so one for each contest. The first contest at the top, second contest at the bottom. Put in the contest designation, what contest it is, whether it's international speech, humorous, etc. Be sure you fill out this section. Were there any time disqualifications or originality disqualifications? If you click yes, then the contest chair, who's announcing the winners, has the obligation before they announce the winners to say there was a time disqualification or an originality disqualification. They don't give names, but they do announce whether there was time or originality disqualifications. And then you will write down the 3rd place winner, 2nd place winner, and 1st place winner. You can fill everything but the name out ahead of time, right? Will represent this club, this area, this division goes here at the whatever contest this is on the date. Should the 1st place winner be unable to attend? And then the 1st place winner, same thing, will represent, put the contest entity, the contest, is it area, division, and which one it is, the date of the contest, and the name. The contest chair will actually be reading this form when they announce the winners to make sure we have a consistent reading of contest winners across the district. And this is very important. If there's only one contestant, then you only fill out the first place winner, obviously. If there's 2 to 4 contestants, you put second and first, so you fill out second and first place winners. Only if there's 5 or more will you fill out the third place winner blank. And as I said, this form is repeated on the bottom for the second contest. So this form is basically duplicated here. It's just 2 pieces. One allows you to put 2 contests on 1 page. All right. Pens. Usually there's a judge or 2 without a pen, so bring a couple of spare pens and bring a pen for yourself. Timing indicators and stopwatches. Again, this is an area where you want to work with the contest chair to see who is responsible for getting those things to the contest. Stopwatches, minimum of 2. This is kind of softened because a lot of people have smartphones with timers on them. But I would bring at least 1. It'd be nice to have 2 just in case. Some judges want calculators to add up their forms. I would bring just maybe 1 calculator if it's small. Probably won't have more than 1 judge that needs a calculator. And scissors to cut the judge's guide and ballot forms. Actually, it's better. The way the judge's form is built, the top is the evaluation form where they're actually assessing the contestant to the criteria. And then the bottom 2 inches is where the ballot is. And they have to tear off that ballot and hand it to your ballot counters. The forms are not scored. By that I mean they're not perforated or anything. So get out your scissors and cut them almost all the way through as you're stuffing them into the folders a day or 2 ahead of the contest. Okay, at the contest site, now we're moving into the pre-contest. You've showed up at the contest. Go ahead of the briefings, 15, 30 minutes. Locate your briefing room. Make sure it's adequate. The contest chair is the one responsible for describing the speaking area. So make sure you understand what it is, because you'll need to tell the judges in your briefing what the speaking area is. And as I said, be sure the timing signals are visible to the contestants. Then when that is done, and there's a few more instructions in the chief judge briefing to look at. These are the main ones. Perform the briefing, and when you do that, you'll obtain the missing certifications from the judges. And then when the briefing is over, make sure you obtain the speaker certification forms from the contest chair. So the judges have a certification, and the speakers, the contestants, also have a certification form. And this is a rule thing. You're the one that needs to end up with the speaker certification forms before the contest starts. And then make sure you give the tie-breaking judge his folder and obtain their certification, unless you want to meet with them ahead of time at a Starbucks or something. Just don't forget to give their ballots to them. During the contest, you'll be asked to confirm that the contest officials are ready and ready to proceed, so you'll have to answer that question. Spot check the timing, we talked about that. Then monitor the contestant introductions to be sure the rules are followed. The rules are pretty picky about introductions. They don't want anything extra. For a speech contest, whether it's international, humorous, or tall tales, it's name, speech title, and name only. No educational designations, no club affiliations, no this is my best buddy, none of that. No, I'm excited to hear this presentation. It's very strict. Name, title, repeat the name. For the table topics contest, it's the same thing. It's name, topic repeated, and name. And the evaluation contest, that's the only strange one. It's name and repeat the name, and that's it. Since there's no speech title, name and name. So as you're sitting there, monitor the introductions are followed, and if the Toastmaster doesn't follow the rules, then pop up there during the minute of silence after that contestant speaks and remind him what the Toastmaster what the rules are on introductions. Okay, counting ballots. So when the last contestant has spoken, you'll pick up the time record sheet and you'll pick up the tie-breaking judge's ballot. Then leave for the tally room with the ballot counters after all the ballots have been collected. Now this will vary. At some contests, you'll always collect the ballots at the end of each contest. Suppose you're running a dual area contest, which means there's 4 contests. You'll need to have the counters pick up the ballots at the end of each contest, but you may not adjourn and count them after each contest. You may wait and count all the ballots after the end of 2 contests or maybe at the end of 4 contests. That's something you'll have to decide with the contest chair who's in charge of the agenda. And what I typically do is I let the ballot counters figure out how they're going to collect ballots and how to make sure they've collected them all. That's part of the briefing. You'll see that in the ballot counters briefing. And then I guess most of the time they give the ballots to me and I put them in a pocket. If you have to do 4 contests, you need to make sure that you don't mix them up. It'd be pretty obvious once you look at them, but it's best not to do that. You may want to bring an envelope to put the ballots in for each contest. Anyway, pick up the ballots after each contest, and whether you adjourn to count them or not depends on the agenda. When you're in the room with the ballot counters, you could complete the ballot counter briefing if appropriate. So the ballot counter briefing is in 2 parts. One is ballot collection, and the second one is ballot counting. A lot of times when I'm the chief judge, I'll reserve the ballot counting briefing until we get into the counter room when it's closer to the event that you're briefing them on, which is counting ballots. But chief judge that's up to the chief judge. They can do both briefings ahead of time or have the ballot counter, how to count ballots, part of the briefing done before you start counting the ballots. Check for time disqualifications. So as the ballot counters are opening up the ballots and straightening them out and making sure they're all signed and everything, open up the timer sheet, record sheet, and see if there's any time disqualifications, and then notify the ballot counters if there are. And then fill in at least 3 counter tally sheets. Fill them all in. Just because you have 3 ballot counters, I was at one contest where there was only 1 ballot counter sheet being filled in, and I sort of shuddered because I've seen a lot of mistakes made in arithmetic and just reversing two numbers between contestants, which can affect the outcome. So make sure you get 3 ballot counter sheets. Make sure they all agree, right? They all should have the same totals when they're done. If not, then ask them to figure out where the discrepancy is and correct it. Feel free to get as involved as you need to on that process. If there is a tie or any position, first, second, or third, pull out your tie-breaking judge ballot to break the tie. And the way you do that is for the 2 contestants that are tied, all you do is look at the tiebreaker judge's ballot and see which of those 2 contestants was ranked higher. I mean, they could have been 5th and 6th on the tiebreaker judge's ballot, and they're battling for 3rd place. So just make sure that the one you pick is ranked higher on the tiebreaker judge's ballot than the other person. Make sure the ballot counters remember the results. And the reason for this is there's a provision in the rules that if the announcement of winners is done incorrectly, not according to what you and the ballot counters reached during the ballot counting session, you can interrupt the proceedings, have a short little huddle meeting, and get the announcement straightened out. So make sure your ballot, and that can be done by either the chief judge or any ballot counter. So make sure your ballot counters know who the winners are. I mean, if they write them on a piece of paper, make sure they discreetly, keep that hidden because we don't want anybody else sitting around to know who the winners are until they're announced by the contest chair. Fill out the contest winner announcement script. That's the script we went through earlier, third, second, first. Put it in an envelope and give it to the contest chair. And these are the repeating of the placements. You have one winner with one contestant, two placements with 2 to 4 contestants, and 3 places with 5 or more contestants. Protests. I will tell you that none of this is from experience. I've never been to a contest where there was a protest hearing held. But we still need a brief about it. It's like, you don't want to, you can't buckle your seatbelt, 1 second before you see an accident's going to take place. So you have to cover it before. So that's why we're including this in the training. So how a judge can protest. So that is covered in your chief judge briefing. If an originality protest is submitted, in other words, somebody believes, either a contestant or a judge believes that the speech is not original, you get to convene a hearing of the judges, including the tie-breaking judge, and listen to the protest. And the way it works is the contestant being protested is allowed to present his case. And he's the only one there besides the judges. You don't have the person who protested. They're not in the room. So kindly, in fact, you don't even know who it is. I mean, it could be, if it's a judge, then obviously they're going to be there. Have a discussion, listen to his case. Well, listen to the case, and then the contestant is asked to leave the room, and the judges then huddle. And they discuss, and then they vote. They have to vote. Majority of the judges must concur with the decision to disqualify. You as a chief judge do not get a vote, since you're not a voting judge. And when I say majority, if you have 7 judges, that's 4. It doesn't matter. If 2 people abstain, it still has to be the majority. It has to be 4 if there's 7. Or if there's 3, I think that's, if there's 6, I think majority is 3. It's not a majority. You have to have 50% plus 1, so that again is 4. And then when you fill out the contest winner announcement script, make sure you check the box that if there were, if there were or not disqualifications, yes or no. Make sure you note that on the script. Sometimes after the contest is over, you'll get some questions about timing, disqualification, placement, and judging. People are naturally curious. And unfortunately, there are no rules to cover these situations. So what I'm going to give you on this is basically what I hope is practical advice on how to handle these situations. Number 1, you don't have to answer the questions. If a contestant comes up and says, was I the one disqualified for time, you don't have to answer. I mean, there's no rule that says you have to. If you want to, we'll go through that in just a second. And if you do choose to answer questions, answer them only from contestants. If they're not a contestant, I don't answer the questions. Right? I said, that's a good question. I'm not at liberty to ask. You don't have to say plead the fifth or anything else. You don't have to answer the question. So about time and time disqualifications, what I do is I instruct the timers and the contest chair to direct any questions to me as the chief judge, to you. So you don't want the timers or the contest chair discussing with the contestants their timing. You are the one that needs to answer the question. At least this is Jerry's rules, right? Because I've seen it done several ways, and if you do it this way, you can get into some messes with the contest chair and with the timers. And if you choose to answer the question of a contestant, that, what was my time or was I disqualified, then do so in private. The reason you can do that, you're best positioned to do it. You have the time record sheet, right? The timers don't have it anymore. The contest chair doesn't know. You have the information. So that's why I'm insistent when I'm the chief judge that I answer any questions about time. Or if there was a disqualification, who it was. Originality disqualifications, I give no information. I mean, I instruct the contest chair to do the same. I need to modify that because I believe that if I was the contestant that got disqualified, I'd want to be notified. So anyway, I go back and forth on this, but if, the first pass would be just give no information and wait till after the contest. Well, it is after the contest. Again, go in private, and if the person was disqualified, then you can tell them. And be careful, because you don't have to tell them why. You don't have to tell them the vote. I mean, I wouldn't get into any of that or any other discussion. If there's any eligibility disqualifications, that is, the person wasn't a member, or in the international speech contest, if they haven't given 6cc speeches, the contest chair handles those. They're supposed to have access to the eligibility information. And they're the ones that go to speech contests and determine contestant eligibility. And if I get a question about judging and placement, I don't reveal any information. Hey, how did so-and-so rank me? Sorry, I can't tell you. The ballots are basically secret ballots, and the information is not revealed to anybody but the ballot counters and the chief judge. Okay, after the contest, we are having contest evaluations area and division-wide. And if you're a chief judge, please plan on participating at the evaluation. It will be held after the contest, so after the 10 or 15 minutes of hubbub and talk, after the gavel goes down, then a meeting will start where evaluation, a lessons learned meeting will be held by a contest evaluator. And the chief judge is one of the attendees for that meeting. Fill out the notification of contest winner forms. There's a paper form, but the one that's online, if you downloaded the forms from the TI website, is a fillable PDF. So you can fill it out, save it, and then email it to the area governor and or the contest chair for the next level contest. And as I said earlier, be sure you fill in all placements. I suppose, you know who first, second, and third is, but how do you know who fourth and fifth is? Just go back and look at the ballots and see who was fourth and fifth. And if there's ties, use the tiebreaker judge's ballot to break the ties. And why do we do that? A lot of times you get to a contest where the first and second place have already conflicts and they can't perform at the next level. So we need to know who third place was or fourth. And if you run out, if nobody's available, then that area or that club is not represented. Destroy the ballots, time record sheets, tally sheets. Some wait until after the next level contest is conducted. I believe that's done in case there's any questions. Once that next level contest is done, then these results and the path to getting to the results no longer matter. So get rid of them. And then send thank you notes to your staff. Some judges actually put the thank you note in the manila folder that they give the judges at the beginning of the briefing. However you want to thank them, that's up to you. Okay, here are the miscellaneous topics. So just a reminder, the chief judge is not a voting judge. Bring extra judge folders, just in case. Sometimes a judge will show up that you thought wasn't going to come, and they show up. I always say, more power to it, right? Put thank you notes in the folders. I think I covered that on the last slide. Some contest chairs of a higher level contest want to see the profiles and the eligibility forms. Well, you have the eligibility forms. The contest chair has the profiles, so you could send them if asked. That's up to you. The way the forms are written, they're supposed to be filled out every contest. But the shortcut seems to be prudent to save paper and time. Clearly communicate any disqualifications to the contest chair. So when you pass the contest chair the envelope with the script that you filled out in it, If there's a disqualification in there, I would let him know, hey, there was a disqualification. Be sure you announce it. All right? And do that discreetly because there's probably interviews or something going on. But do so in private. Who fills out the winner certificates? In each contest kit, there's a first, second, and third place winner certificate. It's kind of nice. You know, it's thick paper and it's different colors. The contest chair can't fill it out until the winners are announced because they're busy. So the chief judge is the only one that knows who the winners are. So negotiate with the contest chair if you're going to fill these out or one of your ballot counters is going to fill them out, or if he's even going to hand out winner certificates. So this is another detail you want to cover with your contest chair as you're planning the contest. If there's a timing equipment failure, you'll instruct your timers to do this, but contestants get 30 seconds if there was a failure, like a light burned out or something like that. And do what you can to preserve judge anonymity. So when you send emails to judges telling them when the contest is, I put the judges in one email, I put the timers and ballot counters in another email, so I can preserve their anonymity with everybody that I can. Make sure they're not singled out and introduced as a judge. That would be bad. Judges can be introduced if they're a dignitary, but they should not be introduced that they're also judging the contest tonight or anything like that. That's the end of the presentation. This presentation is on the District 55 website. And let me show you where it is. We go to the home page, go to Info for Contest Organizers. We all know how to do that now, right? And you can actually just click on that page. You'll go here, and nope, that's wrong. It's in the training. Sorry, I messed up. It's in the training section. Training, speech contest training. Nope. Well, let me back up again. So it is planning, guides, and documents. Lo and behold, here is how to be a chief judge right there. Just click on that and you'll get a copy of this. You'll actually be taken to an outside website called SlideShare where the presentation has been uploaded. So you can use that as your reference. I know this has been a lot of information in a presentation. You may be thinking you've been drinking from a fire hose. That's true. So that's the reason why we make this presentation available to you. You can go back and refer to it as you go through your gig as a chief judge. You can also, when we get it uploaded, watch the recording. And you can fast forward through those and get to the point where you may have an answer to a question that you've been asked. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to contact Susan, who's hosting this session. Here's her email address, d55chiefjudge@tmd55.org. My message to you is it's a fair amount of work, but it's not overwhelming. And it's, like I say, the two most difficult things people I think have with it are their association with the rules, which you can overcome by studying and reading the rules, discussing the rules, and then networking to find volunteers to be judges at your contest. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and more than that, I hope you've gotten a lot out of the presentation. And I hope you volunteer to be a judge in the upcoming contests, either club, area, or division level. And with that, I'll conclude the presentation and return control back over to Susan.
And thank you, Jerry, very much for providing this training for us today. It'll be very helpful to future chief judges in our district.
All right.
I'm ending the meeting.